You eat. You eat when you're stressed, when you're tired, when you're angry, when you're sad, lonely, happy, and any other time you experience emotion. Sound like you? Stick around, today's video is just for you. I help women just like you become women of wellness by making peace with food, loving your body, and finding joy in exercising. Click the subscribe button below to commit yourself to becoming a woman of wellness today. Also, if you are an emotional eater and need more help, I actually have a popular free course just for you to help you overcome emotional eating. It's free and it's linked in the description below. So let's dive in for all things feelings. Today is a big one. I'm so glad you're here. Emotional eating is the hot button topic. We all do it. Sometimes it doesn't really affect us, and other times it leaves us feeling feelings of guilt, failure, disgust, and absolute despair. But let me tell you one thing about emotional eating. It's a normal part of life, and it really doesn't have to be filled with all of these negative feelings. What on earth am I saying, right? Let's talk about it. First, let me define emotional eating. It's eating when you're not biologically hungry. I'll say that again. Emotional eating is a form of eating when you are not actually biologically hungry. And you know what? Sometimes that's okay. Think about the times that you've had a neighbor bring you a warm plate of cookies in a chat for an afternoon, or when you've gone out with friends or family to a restaurant to celebrate a momentous occasion. Sometimes when you eat, you're not biologically hungry, and that's okay. We start to run into problems when we begin using food to deal with or numb our emotion, and when it becomes a coping mechanism for the emotions brought on by everyday life, whether it be excitement or stress or sadness or anything in between. Each time you experience a significant life experience and celebrate or deal with it using food, you deepen the emotional connection to food. Think about a certain kind of food that brings up an emotion for you. Maybe it's your grandmother's home-cooked stew, or a dessert you used to love to bake at home, or even a restaurant that has a particular meaning in your life. Just as babies and mothers experience with breastfeeding, we also create emotional connections with our food. The key is to understand and be aware of the intensity of the emotion and how it actually affects us. In fact, emotional eating lies on a continuum. It ranges from mild to severe. And as I talk about this continuum today, I want you to think about your own relationship with food. Where do you lie? And soon I will give you the steps to work on it on your own life. The most mild feeling of emotional eating is called sensory gratification. It just means that you enjoy food as pleasure. That's great. It's a completely normal part of life to experience pleasure in eating. Allowing yourself to enjoy and eat food often offsets the urge to overeat. Next, we eat for comfort. Maybe you crave soup on a hot day or a cold day, or a snow cone on a hot one. Having these moments occasionally don't affect you that much. It's normal to have a few comfort foods in your life. As long as you pay attention to your hunger, your satiety, and don't feel those feelings of guilt afterwards, you're just fine. Third, we eat to distract. You may find yourself eating food to distract from uncomfortable emotions. Although it is hard to experience and feel your emotions all day, every day, it's also important to remember that distraction from our feelings can be a harmful coping mechanism if we use it too often. So finding a good balance and having occasionally distraction, such as maybe snacking on some chips when you're a little nervous before a meeting or something like that, and constantly distracting yourself from feeling and dealing with your emotions is important. Fourth, on the continuum, we eat to sedate. This is a more serious form of emotional eating, and it's for the purpose of numbing or anesthetizing. Eating to sedate yourself keeps you from experiencing any feeling for a long period of time. It can be extremely dangerous and really deprives you of enjoying experiences with food. You may sedate to deal with past or current stress or trauma, and although it can happen once in a blue moon, using food to sedate your emotions is not healthy, and it can lead to regularly turning to food to numb yourself. And lastly, the most severe form of emotional eating is eating for punishment. You punish yourself for whatever you did wrong by using food. This completely eliminates any joy or pleasure in eating and turns food into a punishment. At this point, most people hate food. So now that you have a general overview of the emotional eating continuum, where do you kind of lie on that scale? Knowing that information can really help you find ways to work on emotional eating and also get help if needed as well. The first thing I want you to focus on when thinking about emotional eating in your own life is to look at your unique triggers. It's important to understand what triggers cause you to perform what behaviors. So let's talk about a few common triggers people experience when using food or turning to food to deal with their emotions. These triggers can include boredom or procrastination. I mean, obviously you need a little snack to help get you motivated, right? Bribery or reward, excitement, that's something I love to do that. Soothing, love, frustration, anger, rage, stress, anxiety, being connected with people, and even mild depression. Oh, that was a lot. Sorry we went through it so fast, but no wonder that food seems to be that first resort. It really can be exhausting to deal with that all day, and in any given day, you may experience one or several of these emotions. So how do we cope? How do we cope with these emotions without using food? But before I go on, I just want to remind you that I have my free Make Peace with Food course that provides you with information and practice to help you overcome emotional eating if you want to take it. It's a member favorite, and if you really want the extra help with emotional eating, I definitely recommend checking out that course on top of this video. So, there are 3 steps to coping with emotional eating. They are a series of simple questions to ask yourself when you're experiencing the desire to eat emotionally. First, ask yourself if you're biologically hungry. If yes, then eat. If no, ask yourself the next question. What am I feeling? This is a huge one because you're learning to tap into the wants and needs of your body. What emotion are you experiencing? Are you angry, bored, tired, or something else? Then do something that can help with that emotion. For me, when I get tired, I tend to want to eat. I know that if I pay attention to my needs and just go lie down for a few minutes, whether or not I actually sleep, the desire to eat actually diminishes. When you've figured out what you're feeling, ask yourself, what do you need? This is when you come up with a plan, just like mine in taking a rest. What do you need to fulfill that emotion? Maybe it's a walk, a phone call with a friend, or simply to step away from the food. Figure out what you need and allow yourself to take care of that need. I know it sounds really simple, and it is, but it will take some practice in first recognizing the emotional eating that is about to happen, rather than ignoring it and just letting it go, and then coming up with something to do about it. But don't worry, because over time it will get easier and you will learn some great coping mechanisms that work just for you. So if you need a few suggestions, here are some that I personally use and enjoy that help me. Take a minute to just rest and relax. Go for a walk. Play a game with someone. Get a massage, my personal favorite, but not something you can do all the time, right? Writing in a journal. It might seem hard at first, but it actually can be really, really therapeutic. Call a friend. Breathe deeply. Cry. Yeah, sometimes we as women just need a good cry, don't you agree? Read a book, watch a movie, organize something. My family really likes it when this is my coping mechanism. I like to listen to audiobooks, podcasts, or even do some work on the computer. There's so much more you could do. So I want you to write down a little list of things that will either help you nurture your emotion, deal with your emotion, or distract from the emotion. And before I go, I want you to know that emotional eating can be a great tool. It allows you to be more in tune with your body, to learn to give your body what it truly needs, and use the right kinds of methods to cope. Emotional eating can actually be a great red flag to tell you that things are out of balance with your life, and to take a few steps to get that balance back. I'll leave you with this. Emotional eating can be a wonderful gift that can actually benefit your life. Yep. So I hope this video today was helpful and gave you a few ideas for dealing with your emotions without using food. It's something that's really important, and if you really want to keep going, just go take that free course. It really is very specific, and you create the plan for you. So I will see you in the next video. We're almost done. Thanks for sticking in with me.